Hey everyone, the deck I'm going to show off today is definitely not a super competitive deck, but it is a fun one. And I'm going to go through the deck here, and then we're going to have a game afterwards. And I'm going to show you kind of what cards I've put in, what cards I've taken out. Now the game I am going to be going through later is with a slightly older version of this deck. I have updated it since then. So yeah, let's go through this XYZ deck. So first of all, as you can see here, I have 3 copies of XYZ. This is actually what prompted me to make the deck. I got 3 copies in very quick succession. And thought, well, why not? Let's try and make something of it. Now, very rarely has cohesion been worthwhile in this deck. I think if you have just at least 2 copies of this card, it's definitely worthwhile. Just the Master Skill and Pierce. Pierce, sometimes you don't even need Pierce, but Pierce mainly just in case your opponent throws down something in defense mode, and Pierce just helps, get past it. Now, I think with Cohesion, you probably could have on defense debuff as well. Kind of does the same thing, but the reason why I've put in Cohesion is because I'm hoping it will get more than that, it will get more than the sort of 300 that it might kind of get from defense debuff. But yeah, in kind of a lot of play, it's rarely got a more than 400 attack and defense buffed up on XYZ-Dragon Cannon. And there was one game where the opponent got it down to 0 with a detonate, but then also still had to deal with it because of Cohesion, where they could have left it by itself. And so it does help very rarely, but really I think just 2 slots is good for this. Now, to make XYZ-Dragon Cannon, we need 3 machines. So we put in literally every machine monster there is. Now, I don't have VWXYZ, and I don't have the VW combined card. I don't think the VW one is that good. I would still want to try it out in this deck, just in case, but it's not super good. And, VWXYZ, I think, kind of really commands its own deck. You probably wouldn't really have it in the same deck as XYZ. Well, potentially. Yeah, so the big thing with, if you didn't know, the big thing with XYZ-Dragon Cannon is you need 3 machines to summon it, and those 3 machines get put into storage, and this monster gets all of the skills those machines have. Now, the goal of this is basically to get 2 machines with super speed, because then you are summoning a 2,800 attack power monster with hyper speed, and if your opponent has nothing to defend it, you are going to deal 2,800 life points of damage to them. That is the plan, anyway. I do have a couple with Inventor, as you can see. Initially, when I started to make this deck, the idea was to put as many as Inventor as possible, so that it would get all the 3 monsters would get skills from Inventor, and then you'd sacrifice all 3 for XYZ, and then that would get all the Inventor skills plus another proc of Inventor. It does not work that way. It does not get the skills that the monsters get from Inventor. It will get the Inventor skill, but that's it. So yeah, so Inventor I have on here mainly for fun. I definitely feel like you could probably, instead of having Inventor on these cards, it would probably be better if you actually had, say, another Super Speed or Cohesion with Z Metal. For XYZ, if you had attack debuff. For Go 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 Golem, you have Detonate, or even just like an attack boost. And Bitron, also an attack debuff. And Gene Controller, probably like another Cohesion, or even like immunity to destruction effects would probably be pretty good. So that is one way of doing the deck. The reason why I have all these Inventors in is so that I can run Dart Revelation, which is a very, very powerful trap, which, if you've procced Inventor at least 3 times, it will make all the monsters in all the lanes facing you lose 1,500 attack points. Very, very powerful trap card. And along with that, I'm also running 7th Road Witch, which basically gets back 2 of your Inventor monsters, and 7th Road Mage, which will reduce the attack, soon to be buffed, actually, which will reduce the attack and defense. Well, we think it's attack and defense after the buff, at least, I should say, but will reduce, a monster by 300 attack by the number of times you've done Inventor. So that's the reason why I'm using Inventor with all these cards. I think you could definitely do it without Inventor. And I did have in 7th Road Magician at one point. That is a card that I have in the previous deck, which you'll see. But he ended up just being like a big body. I'm still tempted. I'm still testing this out. Still very tempted to put him in. I have been able to get him up quite a number of times, because if you don't summon XYZ on the first turn, you get all the Inventor procs. They all go into XYZ, and then they all come back to your hand, and then you get all the Inventor procs all over again, basically. That's also why the VW might be good, just for spamming that Inventor. And if ever more cards come out, which just do more things based on the number of Inventor procs you have, then it could be very, very good. That's the reason why we have an Inventor on some of these machines. Now, I still have super speed on a number of them, and I've kind of been like fiddling with it to add super speed, remove super speed on some of them. So I fairly consistently get 2 super speeds and 1 Inventor is kind of what I'm going for at the moment with these cards. So that's the reason for all the machines. We have, trust me, if there were more machines, I would put in more machines. Ideally, you want literally first turn 3 machines, summon VW or XYZ-Dragon Cannon, but there's just not enough machines out at the moment. But in the future, hopefully there will be more, and I might end up taking some more things out for those machines, but, we'll see. Hopefully when we get the Cyber Dragons, So the other 2 monsters I have in are Cyber Primer. Now, the reason why I have in Cyber Primer is you summon XYZ, it goes down the lane, maybe it hits something in defense mode, its attack points go down to, 500 or something, it does 500 damage. Next turn you summon Cyber Primer, they're obviously going to defend up with something. You summon Cyber Primer, XYZ comes back to another lane, maybe even the same lane, goes back up to, full attack points. Cyber Primer's now there, it's going to take out the defense monster that your opponent has just put down, and then XYZ goes all the way back down the lane again and does, hopefully, 2,800 damage. That's at least the idea behind it. And Blue Eyes, just because it's Blue Eyes, it's the best card in the game. You have this in every single deck, no matter what the deck is. The only other monster I haven't mentioned is Dark Resonator, which is basically the double sacrifice for the Blue Eyes. Again, I'm still fiddling with the deck. It was definitely a lot more useful in there when I had Blue Eyes and 7th Road Magician. So, again, still fiddling around with things. Now, onto the spells and traps. Again, Dark Revelation, very powerful spell. I'm also testing out Giant Trunade at the moment. I think it's an extremely powerful spell card, especially just at a normal rare. Super Rush Headlong, which the reason why I have this one in is a lot of my monsters already have super speed. This will buff them up by 400, give them hyper speed. This can be very useful during certain turns if you put a monster with super speed attacking someone, especially if it's one of your weaker machine monsters, attacking someone they haven't defended up, and then you can kind of catch them off guard and give it hyper speed. Good for the final couple turns, on turn 8 as well. That's why I have that in there. And then Poisonous Winds, which again is another defensive option for standard plays like, attacking you, summoning Blue Eyes, etc, etc. I did have in Wall of Disruption, but I was trying to decide, but at the moment I'm sort of testing between having Poisonous Winds and Wall of Disruption in. Again, both of them are very, very good cards. But anyway, that is the deck. We are going to get onto the game now, and as I mentioned before, it is going to be a slightly older game you are going to be seeing, so there are 1 or 2 different cards that are in the deck, including 7th Road Magician, and I'll bring that up when we see them and why I've taken them out, etc. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the duel. Right, so I started off with 3 machines, and as you can see, 2 of them are super speed, and 1 of them is Inventor, so we are going to summon our XYZ right from the get-go. Now, I was thinking of putting down my Bitron as well, to give it an extra 200 attack points from Cohesion, but without knowing what lane I'm going to be attacked from, I decided to keep this in my hand, just in case one of the 2 side lanes attacks me. Because one of the downsides of this play can be that, you are going to get free machines back from XYZ, but one of the downsides of this play is that you don't have those machines to use until XYZ dies. So if your opponent is slow or has trouble on defeating XYZ, sometimes you can be overwhelmed by your opponents at the side.
What will you do? monsters are moving.
Right, with hyperspeed, we easily get in there and get the card in the middle.
That monster's destroyed.
And I feel a bit bad for this person because he's kind of got people on both sides attacking him. Though he had trap cards for both of them. Wow. A little too bad he guessed wrong on which side to put Curse for Anubis. Putting it on the other side with that Z-Metal tank would have definitely helped him out.
It's the end of the turn. This battle is going well for you. It's the second turn's main phase. No monsters are heading your way, but don't let your guard down.
So here I'm putting ring instruction on the right side because the left side is more of a defender. I think the guy on the right has Jar Jar has more chance of attacking me, which he does put his monster into attack mode at this point. And obviously my ring wouldn't affect the monster on the left. Now as you can see, I've got Machine Duplication in my hand. That is one of the cards which I have taken out the deck. You will see it in some good use in this duel, but this is one of the very few duels where it was actually useful.
Entering the battle phase. What will you do? The monsters are moving.
So now we do get all of our machines back.
You fell for our trap.
Now he does have a shield handler, but I feel at the very least we have gotten rid of that shield handler. I mean, it is obviously disappointing that we didn't get to actually destroy his monster, but at the very least it's better the shield handler got triggered now than, you know, if we were allowing a Mirror Force to trigger or trying to destroy something with Blue Eyes.
There's one monster. Let's begin.
Now I was worried at this point about Jar Jar summoning a Blue Eyes, because he's attacking, it's the standard play for most people. Summon a Blue Eyes, destroy your opponent's monster, and you can get in at their life points. And that is exactly what he has done. Now fortunately, we do have Machine Duplication in our hand, which can help us at least not take any life points. It isn't, you know, great because it is only going to summon a 0 attack, 0 defense monster, but at the very least it does protect our life points this turn.
What? Bring the battle phase. What will you do?
So there we go, and this was the exact reason why I didn't play any monster on the left-hand side, just in case this was going to happen.
Come on out! Let's just see what happens.
Now, it is a little unfortunate that we are being pushed by Jar Jar here, because we do have a Blue Eyes in our hands. We do have another angle to actually attack someone with and do a bunch of damage to, but we are going to have to deal with this Blue Eyes first, and as our the person on the left has a anti-destruction monster, we can't exactly go and attack that person at the same time.
Well done. turn's main phase. Check out that lane. 2 monsters are coming. It's their ace
So
monster.
I am going to have to summon Blue Eyes to survive here. One of the reasons why I'm summoning Blue Eyes, even though I can't destroy his Blue Eyes, I can at the very least destroy any monster he decides to, you know, push down this lane as well. Though Jar Jar doesn't seem to be doing that.
That's a good move. Well done. Well done. Entering the battle phase.
And there was no real good target to actually to use Blue Eyes on, but hitting Jar Jar's other monster is just going to ensure that he doesn't get any life points from the person opposite me, meaning that hopefully I can keep my lead in first place.
Let's just see what happens. That monster's destroyed. The end of the turn. This battle is going well for you. It's the 5th turn's main phase.
So yeah, we do still have a problem that he does still have a pretty strong Blue Eyes.
All right, tribute summon.
And we are going to have to defend up a bit until we can actually destroy his Blue Eyes. Very fortunate the other players are not attacking us at this point.
Well done. Well done. Monsters are moving.
And as for our Z-Metal tank in the middle, I just kind of put him into attack mode just because I really wanted more space to proc Inventor some more times. Very unfortunate that Taboo on the left decided to switch his monster into attack mode at the same time. And this is exactly why I wanted to get more Inventor procs for our 7th Road Magician.
Check out that lane. There's one monster. It's their ace monster.
Now the reason why I decided to put Y Dragon Head in defense mode on the right side here is one, just in case Jar Jar has any any card like enemy controller that can switch my monster to attack mode, and also so that I can actually switch it to attack mode after it's been hit, meaning that I can use it to deal with kind of another monster or even just sort of start to go on the offensive. Jar Jar does have a trap card down, and one of the things I want to do is also just push Y Dragon Head to that middle part, just to potentially trigger any trap card he might have.
Entering the battle phase. What will you do? The monsters are moving. That monster's destroyed. The end of the turn. This battle is going well for you. It's the 7th turn's main phase.
So getting Dark Revelation here is quite nice. It means we are going to be able to do a bunch of damage to anyone that
All right, tribute summon.
we're going to be able to do a bunch of damage to anyone that puts their monsters, well, any monsters really that are in the lane in attack mode.
Are you ready? Let's begin. That's a good move. Well done. entering the battle phase. You fell for our trap.
And I have been on and off about keeping in 7th Road Magician in this deck. He is a big body, but that's really it. And sometimes that can be quite useful, and other times not. I've also been, since new cards have come out, I've also been tempted to put in VW XYZ. Even though it can't attack, it will deal some damage to all the other players.
The monsters are moving.
And it's just kind of how much that that is actually going to work out.
You have nowhere to run. Good. End of the turn. This battle is going well for you. Here we go. It's the final turn.
Right, and on this turn, I am just putting my monsters into defense mode, just in case, you know, anything happens that might mean that where the opponent might have something with hyper speed, or, you know, be able to take something out all the way down the lane, just as an extra layer of protection, because even in attack mode, they're not going to actually get down to the opponent on this final turn. You know, a kind of average XYZ game I wanted to put on. I have had some really good, some even better ones than this. I have had a lot of worse ones, but I feel like this has been the most average of the XYZ games, and this is why I kind of wanted to show it and show kind of what you can kind of like expect from this deck. Thanks very much for watching. Subscribe for more cross-duel content, and I will see you on the ladder.